18 years of age. They can be single women or they can have dependent children. As I said earlier, I believe they have to be drug and alcohol free. We do not allow any use of any substances while in the program.
Okay. Do you have a volunteer program for individuals who would like to get involved within your program?
Yes, we do, and actually we're fortunate to have some wonderful volunteers, and basically you can contact us via our email, our telephone, or website, and we have a process and a screening that we go through, background checks and so forth, but we welcome all volunteers.
Mm. Why is that so important? I mean, that we help out in a program like yourself. I mean, because it's a very needed program within our community.
Yeah, it is, Paul. You'd be amazed at the number of women who are experiencing domestic violence. It's truly an issue that the entire community has to address. Um, and it takes a lot of support from the community, to be honest with you. As I told you, we are a nonprofit organization, and we're able to do what we do through the generosity of others. So it's definitely a community. It takes a community to get these services provided.
Ms. Rice, why do you have such a passion in helping others who's been in domestic violence? I mean, you have that such a passion. What? And that has to be something that's within.
You know, Paul, I've always been a very caring individual. But after walking through the experience of abuse myself, I felt obligated. I felt obligated to assist any woman who goes through that traumatic experience.
What type of gratification do you get when someone graduates from your program and they come back and they build themselves up so great and all that, and you see the growth? How does that make you feel knowing that you had a part in that?
Paul, it's truly indescribable. I really, truly take pride in what I do. I take pride in the women that I work with. Um, I just really can't explain the feeling, the joy that it gives me to see my women succeed.
And I know they have to have a glow. They have to have that glow when they come back. You know what I'm saying? That new lifestyle, that new, their self-esteem is grown and all that. And that, I mean, you can probably see it when they first walk in the door that individual, she's living a better life.
Yes, you can clearly see when someone is living a happy, healthy lifestyle. It shows. It shows in their walk. It shows in their appearance. It shows in how they treat other individuals.
And what does that mean to the individual who are still in the program when they see someone return this a whole different change, knowing that they've been through that process and now look where they're at now?
It's all about identification, Paul. It truly is. Um, they can identify with each other. When my women return, it gives the women who are currently in the programs hope. It gives them plenty of hope that they too can recover from being a battered woman. They can start a new life and lead a happy, healthy life.
Okay, I'm going to give you some characteristic associated with batterers and kind of give us an idea of exactly how this plays on an individual. Extreme jealousy.
It extreme jealousy causes a woman to, or a abused individual to isolate herself. She doesn't want the individual who's abusing them to find any reason to become jealous, so she tends not to interact with other individuals, which in turn keeps her completely dependent upon the abuser. She's isolated from the outside world.
Checking on as far as a history of batterers. They may come from a family member who may have been a domestic violence batterer. how does that play in that individual, knowing that this may have happened in that family, that it may be passed on to that individual? How is that important to find out and things like that?
I think it's definitely something, a trait that can be passed on. I think batterers sometimes or oftentimes came from that environment. Um, Obviously, when you're involving yourself in a relationship, you could always, in this day and age, do background checks and so on and so forth, just to check a person's history and to ensure that they don't have any of these type of offenses in their criminal record.
How about being verbally abusive? Sometimes, they're verbally abuse their partner, and then they'll say, "Well, I'm sorry," and then they'll do it again, and then they'll do it again, and then they'll come back and, okay, why is that such a big characteristic to play on someone possibly being a domestic violent individual?
Actually, it plays a role in that control thing. Oftentimes, the abuse is gradual, so it leads to the breaking down of the esteem. It weakens the resistance. First, we're going to verbally abuse them, so they become resistant to it and a lot more docile and accepting of that. And then it gradually moves on a little bit deeper to the physical and so on and so forth. So um, it's definitely one of those red light indicators.
And they need to pay attention to those type of things, don't it? Because it eventually leads to something even bigger than what it is. It gets worse as it goes along.
Yes, it does. It seems to be progressive in nature.
Is there ever any good excuse for someone being a domestic violence on their partner?
There's never ever any excuse for anyone to abuse another human being for any reason.
But why do we accept it? Why do I mean it's you know I know it's not a reason, but then again they're willing to accept it.
Paul, as I had mentioned earlier, with the loss of your self-esteem, you begin to feel helpless, hopeless, and also, as I mentioned, those obstacles to leaving. Um, it's real easy to say, okay, get up and leave, but where are you going to go? You see,
Correct.
that's
Correct.
where
Yeah.
this need for this program comes into play. It's real easy from the outside looking in to say leave, but you're not offering a solution to where they're supposed to go to.
Okay, if I have a friend who's in a domestic violence relationship, I'm gonna give you some types of scenarios and let me know exactly which one you feel would be the best reason for that individual to leave. I am afraid of your safety. I am afraid for the safety of your children. It will only get worse. I am here for you when you are ready to leave, and you don't deserve to be abused. Out of those key things, which one would you feel that individual who's being abused would probably listen to the most?
I think the two that an individual would listen to the most is I'm here for you when you're ready to leave, because you're offering them a solution,
Mm.
and also pointing out the fact that their children are in jeopardy, because as I had mentioned, the whole self-esteem piece, you're not feeling real good about yourself, so you're feeling like you don't matter anyway, but you're still caring about your children.
Is it important for us to really let that individual know that we're there for them? Because there has to be a sense of being alone. And until they feel like they have someone who's willing to help them out, how do we reach out to them, let them know that I really care about you?
Being consistent with it. Oftentimes abused women hide the fact that they're being abused. It's not even common knowledge of what they're going through. For me, I went through great lengths to hide it. So, first thing they have to do is actually admit and acknowledge it to themselves and then to someone else that is actually even occurring.
We're getting short on time, Ms. Rice. If you had something to say to our viewing audience about Graice Supportive Housing, what would you say?
Well, Paul, I guess I would say that we are a nonprofit organization, and we are able to provide these services to the women that we serve um, based upon the support of the community. We are in the process of attempting to open our next home and are in need of charitable donations. Our hope is to have the next home open by March. We are looking for volunteers. We are in need of household items, bed linens, and things of that nature. So anyone who could assist us in this venture would be greatly appreciated.
Where do you see Graice Supportive Housing in 5 years? Because you're doing an awesome job right now. I know you're growing. Where do you see it at 5 years from now?
Paul, what I want to do is just reach one woman at a time, one day at a time. That is my goal, to really be able to make a difference in a woman's life, to see them move forward, to see them gain independence.
You love what you're doing, aren't you?
I do. I truly do.
You can see it in your face. You know, and that's a great feeling to know that you're doing something that you love doing. It has to be an awesome feeling.
There's really nothing like it. There is nothing like it in the world to see someone come from a downtrodden place to walk upright with their head held high and completely and truly independent.
What separates Graice Supportive Housing from the other type programs that deal with domestic violence?
I suppose the fact that I am a domestic violence survivor or overcomer, I think that is pretty key. We can get paid to do a lot of things in life, but when you're passionate about what you do and you understand where the individuals that you're working with is coming from, there's really nothing that parallels that.
You know, Ms. Rice, I really appreciate you coming on the show and, you know, informing the audience about Graice Supportive Housing. And anytime you want to come back, you're more than welcome to come back.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you
Yes,
so
ma'am.
much for having me.
Ladies and gentlemen, Graice Supportive Housing. You can watch this show also on YouTube, Paul Brown Show with Graice Supportive Housing. You be encouraged. Let's get out and support Ms. Rice in the program. It's awesome. Be encouraged. Thank you.